Hello and welcome to Unacademy. I welcome you to this session which is based out of a need. We receive a lot of emails from you how to prepare with college or work for UPSC. UPSC demands time, it is a difficult preparation, and with college and work it becomes even more difficult. So in this session we'll try to give you a simple solution, certain steps which you can follow to make sure that your preparation is effective and as good as a full-time aspirant. Now, before we begin, remember which a college going student or a working professional faces, it more or less falls under this category. You are not alone. These are issues which are faced by everyone who is not a full-time aspirant. Though you have the cushion of your work or you are preparing via your graduation, post-graduation through a very reputed college, the idea is you cannot ignore both, which is you cannot ignore work and you cannot ignore your college also, because at the end of the day, your graduation is extremely important, or your post-graduation if you want to pursue it further. Now, the first issue is distractions. First in college or at work, be it the work gossip or be it what you're doing in your college, which is the different extracurricular activities. There is also college life, and therefore the first issue is that unlike a full-time aspirant, a working professional or a college going student has too many distractions, both in the workplace or in the college itself. This needs to be cut out, and there is a need for discipline, and that is where I will tell you how to effectively use your time when you're in work or in college. Thereafter, this is a very real issue, which is overlapping priorities. What do you mean by overlapping priorities? Is that obviously you have your work and you have your UPSC. There may be certain, or your college, there will be certain overlaps, but there will always be a space where you have to make sure that you're meeting the targets of your college or of your work, but you also have to keep your preparation in the right space. UPSC is about momentum. If you lose momentum, you will in a way not be able to effectively learn. Therefore, this overlapping priority again is something which everybody faces, not just you. Thereafter, breaks in preparation. This is the second issue which we've seen in a lot of emails, which is you have your college exams or you have a certain very important project coming in work. You can't prepare. For example, for 10 days, maximum sometimes 30 days, for a month, you cannot concentrate on your preparation. And break in preparation is one of the biggest issues, because you can move from first gear to second gear, but then come back to first again. You gain momentum. I myself get a lot of emails that how should I manage this, that there's a break, there's a momentum issue, what to do about it. I'll let you know. Thereafter, time management. This along with, these are the three biggest issues faced. Time. How should I use my time? I already have a dearth of time because I'm either in college where 5 to 6 hours are going or in work where 8 to 9 hours are going. How should I manage time? And when these three issues come together, what you get is stress. And UPSC is as much about stress management than time management, because what happens is you get demotivated, you feel that this is the end of the world, or you think that I want to leave the job. You can't obviously leave your graduation, but the idea is you never need to be demotivated with regards to that. There is a need to manage your stress. And in the end, what we see, and which is the biggest issue, is no effective learning. You've gone through Lakshmikant, you've gone through the course for Indian history, you've gone through different sources, you've gone through your NCRTs, but you don't remember anything. The problem is you've just gone through them once, you've read it, there's no effective learning, because momentum, time and breaks are not a good friend of a certain effective learning program. You have to find a solution, you need a solution, and this is where I'll give you two sets of solutions. The first solution is very simple, which is you join our Platinum batch. The Platinum batch is going to start on 4th of August, both for 2026 learners or for 2027 learners. We are having the Platinum batch. If you already know about it, I'll let you know the basic features. Platinum is like this, wherein there is a smart board setup in which I can see you, you can see me. It is done over Zoom, wherein I can see what you're doing if you're distracted, and if there is any form of, you can say, disconnect, I can figure it out and let you know. So it's all the cameras on. It is an offline experience. in online, and with the mentorship which is provided by a mentor who has already cleared the mains examination, with us and with super coaches who are IPS and IAS officers, there is enough way in which you are guided by the right set of people. So be it the mentorship program, be it the cameras on, and you can actually interact with me vis-a-vis how we do it in a setup where it's a Zoom call or a Google Meet call. Further, you have multiple levels of evaluation, wherein on every Sunday you will have a test, you will be ranked. If you miss classes, you will be given a warning. Further, if you don't still come for more than 3 classes, then we will call you and ask you what is the issue. There is hand holding, there is onboarding, and we make sure that your evaluation, your learning is effective. Just to give you a small glimpse of what Platinum means and how you can use Platinum, or we use Platinum in a very effective way, there are certain clips which you can watch. So have a look how Platinum leads to effective learning, how I can check on you, and further to understand one thing, because most of our Platinum learners are already working professionals and college students, we understand that they need somebody over their head. And that is where in an online setup, there is a chance to be disconnected, but in Platinum, you can never be disconnected. Have a look. Portuguese came in 1500, 1498. The Dutch came in 1602, 1605. They were able to establish East India Company, establish their control in India. By 1600, the East India Company had established itself, and thereafter by 1613, they had established themselves at Surat. French were like, I really want to see what happens in India. Still not convinced that India is the place to be. And it is only in 1664 that they will actually establish their East India Company. And that too, the French monarchy was so feared with money that when Louis XIV said that we want to create a, Dutch came to Surat very late, French came to Surat very late. By that point of time, central authority of the Mughals had actually gone away. So even if they were able to get a concession from the governor, that was enough. More than that, there was precedence. Jahangir had given an exception that a Britisher can sit in Surat. Once precedence is established, anyone else can also have presence there.
Okay. And what about the other settlements where the Dutch and the Portuguese established themselves? Was that from the concessions from the local rulers?
For example, Kochi ruler was happy to have both.
Decline of the Mughal Empire.
True. Partially true. See, the reason why they are better than other nations is because they're desperate to find more concessions, which the other nations may not be desperate to get. So the fact is that the British had a very set plan that we will take concessions as much as possible. That will give them an edge over other companies. The second thing which is important is, which you said, is that it is not that the Mughal authority was per se declining when they came in 1613, but their real concessions came after the decline of Mughals.
Okay.
Because only Farooq Siyar would give that type of farman, not Aurangzeb or Shah Jahan.
Okay.
Make sense? Parnesh?
Yeah, sir. So this is a question regarding independence of judiciary. When you mentioned, does the independent judiciary mean only an independence from, or independent body from legislature and executive? Because in a current day situation, we also hear about media trials and social media influence, and if that is the case, how are we ensuring checks and balances in that case?
This is something that ideally we will discuss in judiciary, when we will discuss how the judges are appointed, how the judges are removed, what is the conduct of judges. But very briefly here, for the sake of discussion today, independence of judiciary, according to Chief Justice of India, former Chief Justice, Justice Chandrachud, does not only mean that judges should not be under the influence of the other organs of the state, which is executive or legislature. There are 3 elements of independent judiciary. One, the judges should be independent of their own biases as well. Own bias in the sense, I am somebody who is homophobic, for example. I hate LGBT community. But if tomorrow there is a case before me as a judge where an LGBTQ community member was assaulted, his rights were deprived, I have to let go of my bias and I have to discharge my duty here and give justice. That's also independence. Independence means judges will have to act independent of any pulls and pressures. This pull and pressure can be from executive legislature, can be from inherently you, can also be from social media. Every 9 o'clock, the nation wants to know that you are corrupt. Where are you, Salman? Vijay Mallya chor hai. Right? So does this conduct influence the judiciary? Should not. But whether they are influenced or not, we will have to see. For that, there are extreme cases. In some cases, judiciary is doing a fantastic job. In some cases, it is not living up to the expectations. But that is something that we will discuss in judiciary. But very good question. Good question.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
So as you can see in the clips which came through, when it comes to effective learning, I will make sure that if I've told you a date, you remember it or not. I have secret ways in which I will randomly catch you and thereafter tell you what is or ask you what is the date related to. Further, what we do is we have certain ways in which we always keep on checking the cameras if somebody is talking on a phone, if somebody is distracted. Therefore, if you're a working professional, if you're a student who feels that I need some supervision whilst I learn online also, Platinum is for you. And remember the date, and remember that for both 26 and 27, the batches are open, and from 4th August we'll have it. Remember one thing, Platinum is like offline, therefore there is need for discipline. If there is no discipline, we'll induce it. However, if you don't become part of the Platinum batch and you still want to prepare in a very effective way, there are still solutions available. First, you need to have an effective timetable. This is for anybody who's not joining Platinum, because Platinum, we give you the timetable, we give you the whole concept, we will let you know when to study what. I am keeping a check on you. We have mentorship programs. I am giving you certain targets. You have to meet that. However, if you are preparing yourself, you are a self-learner, you are not in a guided program, be it Iconic, Pro, Platinum, or in a Plus program, effective timetable is very, very important. To understand one thing, see, I know that 5 to 6 hours of yours is going into either work or in college. In work, it may be 8 to 9 hours. So let's be very realistic. These hours you can't study. This is the first unrealistic thing which you do, which is you think that you can still learn when you're in college. If you are in college, be in college, concentrate in the classes. If you're at work, your targets are equally important. However, what you have to do is you have to use your mornings and your evenings better, which is the time between either 5 to 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and evenings 9 p.m. to 12 to 1 a.m. which is you have a slot of 3 hours here and you have a slot of 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours here. And effectively, let's take an average. I'm not taking 7 hours, but I'll argue that you at least have 6 hours, which is 3 in the morning, 3 in the evening. Now, what you have to do is that you have to use this time better. Meaning, you can't be loitering around and looking for sources. I'll tell you, always stick to one source. But the idea is, if you have 3 hours in the morning, learn something in the morning in the 3 hours. Throughout the day, if you get a chance, you can have small chits made out of the facts which you have to learn. And in the evening, you have to give at least 1 hour to your optional preparation, because optional has to happen together. But the 2 hours which is left, you can revise what has happened in the first 3 hours. Now, do understand one thing, which is that a lot of students say, okay, sir, I have 6 hours, but a full-time aspirant is putting in 9 hours. What about that? See, effectively, you have the same amount of time because you have to use your weekends and off days better. I'll tell you how. See, if I'm expecting 3 plus 3 on the weekdays, you will have either 1 or 2 off days. If you're in college, most probably 2. If you are in a 6 days system, at least you have 2. Some of you may have 1. The question is, on a Saturday and on a Sunday, what should I do? This is where you have to step up. A aspirant who is preparing full time loses steam in the weekend because he starts to burn out. You have only put in 6 hours a week for 5 days. Now for the next 2 days, I want 8 to 9 hours from you, in which what we are going to do is, throughout the week, for example, I did something. I will consolidate. I will also do answer writing. Further, what I will do is, I will also try to integrate some form of, you can say, evaluation, or I will also read standard books and cover more things in that sense. So, for example, what you can do is that this 3 plus 3, which is this 6 hours, into 5, I, for example, covered 2 to 3 chapters of Lakshmikant, for example. Now, in this 8 to 9 hours, what I will do is, if I can do it for 2 days, even better. What I will do is, I will then consolidate, I will make notes, I will also make sure that in this 8 to 9 hours, I'm doing current affairs. So the idea is that in this 3 hours, 1 hour you can do for the newspaper reading. You can go through the comprehensive news analysis if you want to. In the next 2 hours, you can, for example, go through a chapter of any standard book you want to. Then in the evening, 1 hour, I will do optional preparation. Maybe I'll go through a lecture, 1.5 hours. And in the next 2 hours, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to revise what I've done in these 2 hours so that I've consolidated. Now, when you've covered 5 to 6 chapters in the week itself, or then on this, in this 8 to 9 hours, I'll try to do previous year questions. I'll write answers, and I will also do one thing, which is whatever current affairs happened in that week, I will consolidate it, make it an index. So what you actually have to do is, you have to use your mornings and evenings better. I'll give you a master plan also, and you have to use your weekends in a better way. Your off days are the real days to step up. So therefore, don't try to mess up these 5 to 6 hours or 8 to 9 hours. What you are losing, if a full-time aspirant is giving 8 hours into 6 days, he will slack off on 1 day. And if you are giving what is called as the concept of 6 into 5, close to 30-35 hours in the week, and 8 to 9 hours on the weekends, you will easily be able to match the same amount of hours. Effectively, everybody is learning not more than 45 hours in a week. 40 hours, to be very, very honest. And that is where you have to just stagger it in such a way that everything is covered in the best way possible. One more very interesting and important concept is, the timetable should not just be effective, should be sustainable. Because if you don't make a timetable which is sustainable, you will burn out very quickly. Either you will burn out in college or in work, or your UPSC preparation will go down the drain. Therefore, what you have to do is, you have to make sure that you have weekdays, at least 3 plus 3 into 5 days, and weekend, you have to make sure that you have maybe 8 to 9 hours if possible for 2 days. This is your hours which are there. Now, one of the biggest mistakes which a working professional or college going student does is, he refers to too many sources, or she refers to too many sources. That complicates the journey. Refer to one set of sources, which is, if you are reading a newspaper, read Hindu if you want to, read Indian Express if you want to. Don't try to learn both. Makes no sense. Further, if you are doing optional preparation, do it from the standard book or from one source itself. Don't try to do 2-3 resources. Further, for example, if you are doing polity, use Lakshmikant and just stick to it. Don't then start to read D.D. Basu or what we call as Subhash Kashyap. It will complicate it. If there are too many sources, it is not effective learning. For example, for history, you can use the courseware on Indian history, and in this you already have all the 5 themes of history together. 5 themes of history together, be it ancient, early medieval, medieval, modern, or art and culture. Just use this source so that you don't have to go to multiple 10 to 15 different books. If you are doing, for example, geography, just refer to the 11th and 12th class NCERT. And if you want, you can just supplement all of this with the NCERTs which are there, but not for learning, but for revision. This is a very important point which you should know. So you should use only one source. The book list is now very, very sorted. You don't have to learn 6 to 7 books for history itself. There's only one. There is only one for polity, Lakshmikant. For geography, it is the NCERTs. For economy, you should refer to the classes. If you don't have classes, you should refer to the NCERTs plus the economic survey and the budget. And therefore, you have one good solution, one good reliable source. Don't diversify it too much. It will become complicated. Further, what you have to further do is you have to create small targets. If you are going to think that in this 1 week I will finish the whole Lakshmikant, that is not possible. Lakshmikant will need, if you are not in a guided program, at least 2 to 3 weeks. Same for courseware. If you are doing it, it will take you 2 to 3 weeks. Therefore, what you have to do is you have to create small targets which you can meet. This will further do two things. Stress will be reduced. You will not be demotivated. Demotivation only comes when you don't meet targets. You make unrealistic expectations. You have unrealistic understanding. You have to make sure that your targets are small and you are able to cover them in the best way possible in that regard. Now, let's bring all the solutions together, and this is the simple plan which I'm proposing to you. Use it to basically be as good as a full-time aspirant, though there is no differentiation between a working professional, college goer or a full-time aspirant. There is no quick recipe. There is no one recipe. First is, one solution is you join Platinum or Iconic or Pro or Plus. You become part of the Unacademy family. You're already in a guided program. Everything is sorted. Platinum is the most effective one, wherein there is no distraction. We will make sure that you're meeting your targets. If you are not in that space, maybe you are in Iconic, Plus, or you are doing self-preparation, this is the simple plan. For a college student or for a working professional, the simple plan is, first, take out at least 6 hours in the week and religiously study for 5 days under this model. These 6 hours are going to be very, very important for you generally. Supplement it with very effective hours, be it 1 or 2. The idea is based on your work and your college, either 1 day or 2 day. The number of hours which will come is going to be close to any student who is doing this as a full-time aspirant. Second, you have to only stick to one resource. Please do not make it a complicated journey where you have too many resources to cover. Third, you have to create small targets which you can meet, and if you will meet them, you will be easily be able to cover them in that effective concept. You also have to make sure that your distractions are lower. If you are distracted, you need to bring in that discipline. UPSC wants discipline and wants you can say a plan. If you are without a plan, a rudderless ship will never get you the examination. You have to have an effective understanding, no distractions in that regard. Further, you also have to do one more thing, which is please make a timetable. And I'm giving you a timetable here. For example, Monday to Friday, 3 hours in the morning, which is 6 a.m. I'm assuming, 9 a.m. you can adjust this accordingly. Now, for example, if you are a Plus Iconic learner or you're part of the Unacademy family, we already have a class here. You are learning, you are revising, you're interacting with the student. But if you are not part of any guided program, what you do is you read the newspaper in the last 1 hour. In the first 2 hours, read but effectively, meaning only read 5 pages, but be very good in reading that, effective reading. Thereafter, I assume that you would need half an hour to get ready, and the next slot which you will get to study after you have dinner is either 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. Thereafter, till 12 p.m. or rather 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. according to your capacity. Here, what I want is at least 1 or 1.5 hours you have to push into your optional, because optional preparation has to happen in the first 6 months of your preparation. Thereafter, what I want is in the next 2 hours, you should consolidate. If possible, what you should do is 1 hour of reading, 1 hour of revision. This is what you have to do on a Monday and to Friday in that regard. However, when you are on a Saturday plus Sunday or Saturday itself, what you should do is now divide your day properly. What you should do is in the morning, 6 a.m. get up till 9 a.m. You should again first consolidate the week. So whatever you've learned, revise it and consolidate. Thereafter, from 9 to 10, I believe, or till 11, you need to freshen up. And from 11 or 12 p.m., what you should do is you have to now again go further and cover at least 2 to 3 chapters. You have a good till 3 to 4 p.m., 3 to 4 hours. So you have now done what you done in 3 days in only 1 day in that regard. Further, in the evening, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. after a small break, you should consolidate current affairs. And from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. you should consolidate current affairs, consolidate rather your optional, so that your optional preparation is also in the right track. So if you look at it, this is the most productive day for you. So think of it like this: a full-time aspirant is doing this across the week. He is doing something, she is doing something in the 8 hours she gets or he gets. What I'm asking you to do is to stagger. Use your mornings and evenings better. Second, use your weekends better, your off days better. Trust me, if you will keep your targets realistic, if you will keep your understanding realistic, if you're only writing one answer a week, if you're doing it in a disciplined manner, you will not find it difficult. Remember one thing, your job gives you assurance and security, which a full-time aspirant doesn't have. Your graduation is equally important, cannot mess that up. So here it's about time management, it is about stress management, it's about balance and targets. Most probably if you're a college goer, if you're in the first year, you have 3 years of preparation, 2 years of preparation, you can slowly cover everything. So do understand one thing also, if you are 2026, you have to, in a way, do this in a more expedited manner, in a more quick manner. But if you're 2027, you can go slow, do everything effectively whilst you're preparing for your graduation, whilst you are trying to target for 2027. Remember one thing, unrealistic, unsustainable timetables will make it more difficult. You have to keep it more effective in that regard. The more effective it is, and remember one thing, you can't slack off. A student who may be doing 8 hours of preparation, he can slack off for 2 to 3 hours. That is where it is effective learning. Whenever you sit with the book, no distractions, keep the phone in the side. You make sure that everything is in the right space itself. You don't have any distractions. You don't have too many things happening at the same point of time. Though that 1 or 2 hour has to be very, very important. If you have to complete something in the periods, for example, where there are long breaks, you can always come back. It is true for everyone. Remember, you don't have to give up after that long break. Your college exams are equally important. Once your college exams are over, do one thing before college exams are over, complete something. Don't start something which you cannot complete, then you're in between. So for long breaks, remember, don't break the cycle, be it in the same sense, be it in the same space in that regard. So I hope that these solutions have helped you. This session has given you some motivation and confidence. You are not alone. Everybody faces the same problem. This I say in my pro, this I say in every class which I say. You are a human, you will have these tendencies. It is important that you have enough rest, because don't compromise on sleep also. At least 5 to 6 hours of sleep is important. Your brain rewires in that time. So please remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Therefore, you have to make sure that you do it in a certain space and understanding. So I hope that this session has helped you. If you're thinking about Platinum, you can use the link which is in the description box. Further, we also have sessions in which we give you Platinum experience. Platinum is exactly like this. The difference being I can see you and I can see if you're distracted or not. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.